Dinner for shoes, please.
Hi. Welcome to Dinner for Shoes. This episode is called Nathan's and New York City Marathon. I hope you like my outfit. I really dressed for the occasion. This is a celebration of my running the New York City Marathon, not to toot my own horn, but toot toot. It was the hardest race I've ever run in my life. I was fueled by Gatorade. Thank fucking God. I needed even more fuel than I had. And it was a very difficult, it was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It wasn't only like the hardest race, it was the hardest thing. I've never run a race that hard. I've run very many half marathons. I've only run one other full marathon, and it was Philly, and that was in 2014. So it was a long time ago. And I would say that I didn't feel like I was in as good of running shape as I was for Philly, because Philly was early on in my running career. And I was more excited about running. I feel like I had that, like I hadn't been hurt yet. I had just really gotten into it. And now I'm like, I had approached it with training for 18 weeks. I did an 18-week training program. I got through running 16 miles, 20 miles, 18 miles in between those. And it was just very, very intense. I actually enjoyed the training process, I would say. It was more the race that was difficult. The race itself, I had a blister on my big toe that just was bothering me the whole time. I felt like I was limping by the end. But it was an incredible experience. And I'm here to talk about that, but also talk about the fashion and what people wear. People have fucking marathon style. People have marathon style. If I would have known that people had marathon style, I would have way more carefully chosen what I was going to wear to run. Instead, I chose to run, amazing shorts, by the way. We'll talk about those shorts, but I did run in these shorts, and they have amazing pockets, which ended up really, really coming in handy because I had forgotten to, I had forgotten that I wasn't going to be able to bring my phone. I knew that there was a chance that I wasn't going to be able to give my phone before the race, but I was told, or I misunderstood, that actually you got to run with your phone, because if you didn't sign up for the bag check via TCS, the website, you're not getting a bag check. They're not going to bring your phone and your belongings to the end of the race. So that was, a little bit hectic for me, but it turned out that these shorts were great. But anyway, I had major chafing. I have little red scabby dots all over on the inside of my legs. I didn't even know that people use like Vaseline to work with the chafing and kind of make it a little bit better when you're running. But people were, at all the medical tents throughout the course, they were holding up these like sticks with Vaseline, and I was just like, give me the Vaseline. And I just like rubbed it all over my legs. Like, I was disgusting, but you had to get through, All right, let's talk about the outfit behind the shoes and the shoes themselves, because they are so important, because they're New Balance shoes. And I actually have another backup pair here that we're going to talk about too. But first, let's talk about these. These 550s actually are owned by Taylor Swift. What do you know? Shout out to that other episode we did on her. But these are amazing sneakers. I love them. I actually really like how the color, the bottom sole, and the heel, and then the decals on this shoe kind of reflect back to the orange in my New York City Marathon metal. And I just love that. It really, really matches. And it's all good. So these puppies, I thought they looked good with this Zara outfit that I put together. Now, I didn't know. I'm gonna show you what I wore after the race to celebrate and to go out, because that's like a big thing in New York. Like, everyone's like, you ran the marathon. Like, if you walk into any bar or restaurant dressed in your metal, everyone like cheers, and it's great. And it's like a whole camaraderie. I love that word. It's just a whole experience, and it's all part of it. And so I was sure to do that. And I did style an outfit that I loved, even though I could barely walk. So it was important to me to be comfortable. So no, I didn't wear heels. But these sneakers, I feel like, really helped accessorize this look. So this look is a Zara look, and I love, first of all, I've never worn a pair of double waistband trousers that I loved quite as much as this pair, because the inner layer of this waistband is kind of like satin. The bows are super sleek. It takes your outfit, even if it's sporty, which of course that's the vibe these pants give off, but it takes your outfit to this like chicer level. And when I saw this little New York City crop top, I was like, I mean, hello. Like, of course you want a navy crop top that just totally complements the metal, the pants, yada, yada. The metal itself is gold. Oh my God, I was wearing it backwards this whole time. That's so embarrassing. The metal itself is gold. You can get it like inscribed. It says NYRR on the back, and you could put your finisher and time. You can get it inscribed and personalized, which is really cool. But it has all the boroughs that you run through. So you start in Staten Island, you go over the Verrazano Bridge, which was, I mean, when I made it to the top of that bridge, I was like, what the fuck did I sign up for? Like, I've still got 25.2 miles to go. Is this a joke? Anyway, you go from Staten Island to Brooklyn, to Queens, to the Bronx, to Manhattan, and you end in Central Park. And then you've got little Lady Libs right here. And she's so special. I love her. So yeah, because of the gold, I wanted to decorate with some gold jewelry. So I'm wearing this set that I recently got from Etika. It's got actually a kind of like the detail in the hardware here, it's got ridging in the gold, and it kind of mimics the ribbing in my shirt, which I just loved. So I styled that with the matching ring and the matching hoop earrings. But also very important is this Empower ring. Now I'm like embarrassed to say that I don't know where I received this ring that says Empower, but I wore it actually to the expo to pick up my bib, and I wore it after while we were going out because I feel like I empowered and fueled myself that whole race. And that's like so important, you know? So I just thought that this ring, it just made sense. I had already owned it. I don't know where I got it from, but I was excited to wear it because I just felt like it just encapsulated the way that I felt about myself while I was on that race. And there were many times when I didn't want to keep going, right? And that's probably the case for every runner who ran it, even the elite runners, even the professionals. I'm sure they had those moments. That's part of running a marathon. But you empower yourself. And at the core, you were the one who got you through that race. It wasn't any amount of fuel from Gatorade or the gels that we were taking in. It wasn't the crowds. It wasn't the crazy kids holding up signs that were like, I don't want to be here. It wasn't that. It was, you know, it was us. And it was all the training and hard work that we had put in. And so I think that ring is really special. And then I also tried to, on my eyes, I did some gold and silver like eyeliner just so that I was like calling attention to the medals, and also like the fact that, listen, at the end of the day, I wasn't that happy with my splits. I wanted to do the race in a shorter time than I had run Philly, but I was not expecting so many hills. But I hate to like put myself in this box, but I feel like I came in second, silver. I didn't reach my ultimate goal, right, for this race, so I can't say that I came in gold, but that's why on my eyes, I have both the silver and the gold to represent everyone. Anyway, I know you probably want to know why I got Nathan's, and you probably want me to put it on my plate, but we're going to talk first about the shoes that I ran in because they're super special shoes, and I need to make room for them, even though they're not part of my official outfit. So let's do that first. Now, these New York City Marathon New Balance shoes. Now, New Balance asked me to run on their team for the marathon. I had been trying to get into the New York City Marathon for years through the lottery, to no avail. And when New Balance reached out and they were like, do you want to run the New York City Marathon? I was like, well, let's do it. And I immediately said yes. And the decals on these shoes, I mean, New Balance is an official sponsor of the New York City Marathon. So they probably thought to themselves, like, we better make this a cool shoe. I love the little highlights of orange. Now on the laces, you can see that it literally says 26.2 miles, 42.2 kilometers. And they are just so special. On the tongue, you literally have the exact logo from the medal with Lady Liberty. You've got the neon New Balance swipe, the amazing New Balance, NB FuelCell Elite. I run in the SuperComp Elite. That was the shoe that I chose that really honestly was just so comfortable for me. I had previously run in a different shoe and I didn't know if I was going to find something equivalent from the New Balance stock. And the team, God bless that team, and Maggie from Ketchum, who represents them, oh my God, like they got me through my training. They worked with me to find a shoe that was right for me. They just launched a new fresh foam style. I will link them. And those were perfect for my training. They had like a really comfortable base. So when I was lifting weights and everything, when I was doing strength training, those were great for that. But these, I mean, it's no wonder that they personalized these and gave them this like marathon finish, because I'm sure so many runners agreed with me that these were just the lightest, most comfortable shoe. And they've got the little energy arc. It put a spring in my step. And it kind of masked the pain of that big blister on my right toe. So anyway, that's those. And while I don't know that I would wear a running shoe with this outfit from Zara, I couldn't not include them. They are totally a part of my outfit. They're part of what I wore on race day. See here for my full look. I actually got this amazing personalized tank top that said SLWAS on it. And it's funny because, now this is probably the best thing. Everyone is supposed to put their names on the front of the t-shirts that they're wearing. Some people forget to do it and forget like that they were supposed to show up in that. So they take like a Sharpie right before the race starts and they put like Cara. I don't know why Cara was the first name that came to me. Chrysanthemum, Marky Mark, I don't know what is happening, just shooting out names here. Trish, Kit. Anyway, they put their names, and then all of the people who, like all the crowds that are standing on the sidelines during the race, which there are so many. The only place there is not a full crowd of people lined up all the way from Staten Island to the finish line at Central Park is on the bridges, which is nuts. But the people, like, they will shout, like, go Sarah, like, go Kit, go Trish. Well, I am the idiot who decided that I'm going to put SLWAS, which is my Instagram handle, on mine, and think that, like, someone is going to try to pronounce what that is, right? So the whole race goes by, and I see my boyfriend Nick 3 separate times. He was amazing, and he like came and he gave me gels when I needed them. He gave me fuel. He took my phone at mile 7 when I realized like I don't want to be running with this. And I even had my cord to charge my Garmin watch that I use, and I didn't want to like obviously throw that out. And it was one of the belongings that I thought in my head, oh, they'll just bring this to the finish for me. Dumb. But so anyway, I gave all that stuff to him, and it had been, 7 miles, still no one trying to call like SLWAS, no one being like SWAS, however you want to try to pronounce it. No attempts. Not even a 1. So I'm like running. And also I put my bib number, which I'll bring in when we bring in the Nathans, I'll bring in my bib, but I put it on my back because it was just more comfortable. And I knew I wanted to tie up my shirt. And I thought no photographers were taking pictures of me, because the photographers that work for the New York City Marathon, they are looking for either facial recognition or they're looking for your bib number. So since I was wearing sunglasses, I was wearing these like cool, I actually got them from a gas station, but these cool like rainbow lens sunglasses. And I was wearing, that, so that covered a lot of my face. I was like, well, there's no facial recognition there, and the bib is on my back. At one point, I saw this dude, like this photographer, and he was in just like a place where I thought like we were on eye level when I was running. I was like, hey, no one will take pictures of me. Like, here's my bib. Can you take a picture of me? I just want one picture. And he was like, I shoot for T-Mobile, like move along. Like he was only shooting like T-Mobile runners or something. I don't know. And I was just like, oh. But anyway, so no one trying to pronounce SLWAS. And I, as it turned out with the photos, somehow that technology with the facial recognition is so friggin' good, because my boyfriend's family actually surprised me with all these photos of me and a finisher video. Check it out. So that made me so excited. And I literally was like crying. I was so happy that actually pictures had been taken of me. I mean, they're not the best pictures. Like, no one looks great when they're running, right? And you're like pouncing on your knees. But I was so happy that I got that, because it is really a memorable, special moment. And like, to be a New Jersey / New York native, like, you know, it's a special moment. So I was glad that my boyfriend's family did that for me, and they surprised me. And they also are getting me a plaque, which I'm really excited to be delivered. And anyway, so the picture thing ended up working out, but it had been like 22, nope, I want to say about 24 miles, because it was right when I reached Central Park that I had in my head, I was like, I could stop right now. I could end this here. I don't need to keep running. The second time I saw Nick, I was like, do I have to keep going? And he was like, yeah, you got to. And I was like, fuck. I was like, I'm listening to you. And so I had made it all the way to Central Park, and Fifth Ave going into Central Park from the Bronx is all uphill. And I finally got there, and I was just like, you know what I also just realized, and another reason why I should stop? Because no one even said my name that's on my shirt. And then all of a sudden, this guy was like, SLWAS, keep going. And I was like, yes! I should have like turned around and like, but I was just so nauseous. I mean, either I was going to turn around and puke on him or turn around and say thank you. And I doubt it would have been the latter. So I'm just glad that, you know, I took it in. If you're out there watching this, I doubt it, because I only get like 35 views on each video. But if you are the one who called my name, oh my God, forever grateful. I literally finished the last 2.2 miles because of you. There were a couple of other really cool experiences just with the crowds throughout, where I did happen to see someone who I work with, and her name's Vic, and she, like, I had no idea she was in Brooklyn. I knew she lived in Brooklyn, but I was leaving Brooklyn, and it was a moment in the race when I was like really stressed out, because it was basically a really narrow street when you're leaving Brooklyn, and even if you wanted to like pass a runner, you really couldn't, and it made you feel a little bit claustrophobic, to be honest. And she grabbed me and she was like, Sarah. And I was like, oh my God, like, yes, like I needed that. And it's like, all these people got me through these really hard moments, the same way I get you through all of your hard moments. Like when you're puking, you're in a pukey. She's actually in her, like that's how she pukes. She goes like in that position. So she's in her puke position. Do you want to do a pukey? Because Mommy's talking about when she was nauseous during the marathon. So if you want to do a pukey, you could definitely do a pukey. It would be comedic effect, you know? Anyway, so there was one more time when it was mile 16 and I had just gotten off the Queensboro Bridge, which is the hardest, longest bridge. And actually, a high school friend of mine had reached out before the marathon and been like, oh my God, like, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be looking for you. And I was like, I know your voice anywhere. Like, you know, just say my name. And she did. And I saw her and I was like, Jordan, like it worked. And that was another moment where it's like mile 16, you're really hitting your wall there. And it was weird. It was like fate, the way I needed all these little pushes at that moment. But anyway, I guess the most important one in the context of Dinner for Shoes is the SLWA, since it has to do with the shirt. Shirt is fashion, yada, yada. So anyway, I wore just a pair of socks, like striped socks with my look that I always wear when running, and of course the New Balance sneakers, the SLWA's tank. I wore a New Balance hat that New Balance gave me, my headphones, everything, those gas station glasses. Yeah, bum, bum, bum. And I got through, woo! And I was so nauseous, I almost puked. Now, they make you walk like literally a mile and a half out of Central Park by yourself before you can greet loved ones. They give you a really, really cool poncho, which I'll also bring into the picture because it matches the Gatorade when I bring in my Nathans. So that's cool too. But you're so nauseous in that moment. And like all I wanted, I was just like, I need Nick. And I tried to put like the pretzels that came in like the rescue or the recovery bag that they give you when you're done with the metal. I tried to put a pretzel in my mouth and it was like so dry in my mouth. I like couldn't, I was like, you know, like, But anyway, then I realized I was like, you know, just keep drinking water, keep drinking Gatorade, had a bottle of Gatorade, had my water, and finally I started to be able to eat the pretzels, and that really helped. So thank you, New York City Marathon, TCS, NYRR for thinking of pretzels. Pretzels rock. Let's do the food. let's do the food. And while we're eating the food, we'll talk a little bit more about what I saw other people wearing and about how marathon fashion is clearly such a fucking thing. I will say before I bring in the Nathans, my bib, and my poncho, that it's funny because I was like talking to my boyfriend and I was sitting here and I was like, all right, like I'm going to film a Dinner for Shoes episode on the marathon. Like, what should I eat? Like, and he was like, oh, like a big pretzel. And I'm like, yeah, like that makes sense. It also runs parallel to what I needed to get me out of that moment of nausea, right? But at the same time, I was like, I don't know, because I tend to eat pretzels. Like, I want to kind of try something new. And he was like, oh, well, Nathan's was started in Staten Island, wasn't it? And that's where the race starts. Like, get a hot dog. And I actually was going to ask Alexa before I started to film, but now I'm going to ask Alexa on film. Alexa, where was the first Nathan's hot dogs?
From wikipedia.org. The original Nathan's famous hot dog stand was opened in Coney Island.
Coney. And so that's enough. Thank you. 1916. Thank you, Alexa. So 1916 was when the first Nathan's opened in Coney Island. And I was like, come on, Nick. Like, it wasn't Staten Island. It was Coney Island, because I never get anything with geography right. So it was like the one time I got something right. And I knew because like my mom grew up going to Nathan's and her mom taking her to get a hot dog in Coney Island to get Nathan's. And I'm obsessed with their fries. So of course I got fries too. I'm going to bring everything in. We're gonna test it out. And you know, even though Nathan's wasn't started in Staten Island, it was still started in an island around New York. So that's good enough for me. And also just getting a hot dog on the side of the street is like such a New York thing. So let's get into it. Be right back. Okay, y'all, look at my setup. First of all, I have so many things. Like when I was unpacking this Nathan's, which by the way, they gave me two bags of fries. I had no idea that like Nathan's like slogan is the flavor of New York. Good job, Nick. You always know. Like, you're right. This does make sense for the marathon. Now my hot dog did come with a Diet Coke, which my mom told me to cool it with the Diet Coke. But like I wanted to try it, but really, I mean, Gatorade is my fuel, so you know, let's leave the love with Gatorade, I guess. But anyway, here I am in my poncho. Now, the thing about this poncho is that it's actually like soft underneath, and it was like warm, and it just makes me feel like a princess. Like, I love it. Here's my bib, 36083. This is what I was wearing on my back, and I now have it hanging on my fridge with a magnet that says, more cats, less people, or less people, more cats, or fewer people, more cats. Either way, same sentiment. Anyway, so there it is. And now Nathan's for me. Okay, so my grandma, who is sadly no longer with us, Phyllis, she used to take me and my sister after school to get a little snack at Nathan's. I think it was more for her, not for us, but we still benefited. And she would always get the fries. And I loved, it's like a favorite pastime of mine, like using that little red fork, which I don't think they gave me, by the way, but using that little red fork. I mean, every Nathan's order should come with a little red fork, even if you aren't getting the fries. Like, what? That's like symbolic of Nathan's. All right, I'm not gonna hate on Nathan's yet. I'm gonna try the hot dog first, but I used to love like having the fries with the little fork. And these, I mean, you know that like meme, or not meme, but like that infographic on Instagram that's like, oh, sorry, I couldn't wait. That's like, what's your favorite fry? And it's like sweet potato fries, like curly fries, like whatever. Nathan's fries, hands down, my favorite type of fry. Like sweet potato fries, like a good, like kind of crispy, but some a little bit like mushy sweet potato fry. That is a very close second. But Nathan's fries, hands down my favorite. Add a little, even some extra salt. Beautiful. But I've never quite been a hot dog girl. I had a stage where I was vegan, not eating meat. I had a stage, well, actually during that stage I was still eating fish. I had never stopped eating fish. But when I was eating meat, whenever it came to what do you want from the barbecue? Like, do you want grilled chicken? Like, when I was like feeling really healthy, I'd be like, I want grilled chicken. But if it was just like a burger or hot dog, I'd always choose the burger. Because in my opinion, like a burger just lasts longer. So today, this is a real test for me. are Nathan's hot dogs good or not? When I would eat hot dogs when I was little, my mom would either make hot dogs and beans, which I loved that dinner. Loved that dinner. I would eat with like my little Disney fork. And so we make hot dogs and beans, or it would be like a Hebrew National hot dog. And it would be so rare that I would eat that. And I definitely never used ketchup or mustard. So today we are going to try both ketchup and mustard. And I need to call Nathan's out. Now, this is the Nathan's in Jersey City, by the way, but I have to call them out because this is weird. I looked through the whole bag. They gave like 25 million packets of ketchup and only 1 packet of mustard. So I'm just like, we're running really low on the mustard today. Like, what the fuck? This is how I do things. Oh, and also I have to say that this little red straw is obviously not a Nathan straw, although would have loved a little red fork. But these little red straws, I love little coffee stirrer straws. I use them when I drink my personal coffee in the morning, which we already did with the outfit wheel post. But I literally don't even. This is gross. This is gross. But you're gonna find out a lot of gross stuff about me, and this is probably like a tame comment, but I literally just like let water run through these in order to wash them and put them back because I don't want to run out of them and I need them to drink my coffee now. So I just reuse them. It's fine. I'm the only one who drinks out of them. Oh, sorry, microphone. Okay. So, and yet again, the set designer put a fork and knife. Idiot. So what we're going to do is decorate this hot dog with some mustard as I listen to Kit cry from the bathroom. But you guys have no idea. Like, all my fries would be gone if she was out here. Ooh, that's like spicy mustard. I love spicy mustard. I actually love all mustard, but I'm telling you, like, spicy mustard, my favorite. Oh, also, I should say, like, I know you probably thought it was weird when I said, like, oh, I never used, like, ketchup on my hot dog when I would eat it when I was little. I also like and look for fries where you don't even need ketchup because they're that good. So I really don't even use ketchup with my fries. I got to be in a mood to use ketchup with my fries. I'm so nervous to try this hot dog with ketchup and mustard. I don't know how I'm going to feel. Okay. I can immediately tell you that I am more of a hot dog and mustard gal than hot dog and ketchup gal. Because I think I'm used to the taste of the hot dogs and beans with like the refried bean sauce, not the ketchup sauce. And ketchup just brings too much tomato into it. Does that make sense? But the mustard, here, this end has like a little bit of mustard, so I'm gonna just like bite that. Yeah, that's where it's at. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. So I'll still eat it with the ketchup, but I will say that like I'm a mustard and Nathan's gal. I mean, okay. So I will say that I like fries, I think, better than the hot dog itself. That's just me. I love these fries. They're my favorite fries in the world. So I can't like put anything above them. But, you know, I'm going to keep eating them. So I'm sorry about that. But let's just talk about, while we're talking about the flavors of New York, let's talk about what I saw some people wearing on Marathon Sunday. I mean, when I walked in, so let's talk about what I wore, you know, when I walked into, I actually ended up going to get some chips and guac and some margaritas because margaritas are my favorite. Needed some of that to celebrate. And I wore another pair of trousers like this. I'm really in a trouser, like a wide leg trouser zone right now. And I wore my New Balance official TCS New York City Marathon racing logo t-shirt, and I tied it up and I wore it with my medal. I was a mess. I wore it with this other pair of New Balance shoes that I really love. They're like a chunky dad sneaker. And it was a really nice night and everyone like celebrated with me. We went out with my boyfriend and I went out with a couple of friends, and one of them was like, you know, you never did the biting, like biting the gold, which like I didn't even know that was a thing. And they were like, do it, bite it. And I was like, and then let me just be completely honest with you, because that's what I am when it comes to fashion, honest. My fly was open when we took that picture, so I literally colored in, if you zoom in really close, I colored in literally like the black where my crotch is. I'm off my rocker. But so we did that photo. We went for a few drinks. Nick and I went to a speakeasy to cap off the night. And then we went to a convenience store and we got 2 pints of ice cream and peanut butter chocolate covered pretzels and a few other things. And we just had like a feast watching Love is Blind. And it was great. It was a great night. And I liked the outfit that I wore out, but I like this outfit better. I think both definitely put my medal on display. And I think that you should, right? A lot of finishers, they wear their t-shirts that they receive after running the race. A lot of people will also receive the t-shirt when they pick up their bib and then wear it on race day to run the race. That's a big no-no in the running community that I've been in contact with. My uncle, who's a runner, always says, like, you know, you got to run the race to deserve to wear that t-shirt, right? So I always am just like, whenever I see someone running the race, like wearing the shirt, I'm just like, they don't know, you know? But anyway, I didn't wear that shirt because they actually ran out of my size. So they're going to mail that shirt to me. But I did see a lot of people out at the bars, like accessorizing their look with that shirt. And I was just like, you know, make it fashion. Like, make it fashion. You don't need to wear the marathon shirt. Like, you know, wear that while you're doing your run, like around around Jersey City. And people will be like, oh, that person ran the marathon. Actually, I shouldn't. I've heard from many people, don't run for like 2 weeks after running. Well, I tried like 3 days after. Because that's what an obsessive runner does. They're just like, I need to run again. It wasn't success. But I did see out on my run one other guy wearing the New York City Marathon shirt. And I was like, you're just like me. Like, we vibe as runners. But anyway, I saw a lot of people who on race day just wore really cool things. Like whether it was like a cool pair of headphones or like a logo, like designer tracksuit zip up. That was cool. Then I saw like the opposite end of the spectrum, like someone running in a costume. Like, you know, I once did a trail run where I saw someone running barefoot and that was just like, dinner for shoes, please. You know what I'm saying? But I did really like to see what everyone was wearing. I thought that was a cool part of running the race. It actually helped me, you know, kind of take my head off of the pain for some of the time. And yeah, I mean, running the New York City Marathon, it's going to be something that I remember for the rest of my life. So I can't say that I regret anything about what I wore, about what I wore afterwards. I'm going to wear this poncho, you know, comfortably forever. Trish, come on. Thank you. Congratulate your mom for running the New York City Marathon. Congratulate her. Say, I love my mommy. She ran the New York City Marathon. That's 26.2 miles, and I want 26.2 pieces of catnip and kibble and meow mix. I love you. Kit, I love you too, but she's in the bathroom. I gotta let her out now. Anyway, definitely gonna continue eating the hot dog, eating all these fries. Actually, I have a whole nother bag here. I may call Nathan's and ask where the little red fork is. I don't want to review them poorly, but I want the little red fork. I just double checked and like there is absolutely no little red fork. Oh. These fries, the ones in this bag, they are a little bit saltier. I love it. Anyway, anything I talked about will be linked in the captions. As always, like, subscribe, tell all your friends about Dinner for Shoes. Got a special guest for you next time, which I'm really excited about. I'll give you a clue. Headbands. So we'll see you next week. Dinner for shoes. Dinner for running shoes.